That by extending the length of the loop up to about 268 k's. Now that's the changes, the major changes. And obviously in the top loop we've taken out those long straights as well.
De Villiers and Jourdan had a clear advantage over their rivals. They would have no dust with which to contend, but would have to be careful of stray animals and public vehicles that might venture onto the route. The aerial view of the Kopanong Hotel Medical Rescue and TV helicopter illustrates just how dusty conditions would be for the chasing pack. Harkes and Berthold started over a minute behind De Villiers and Jourdan, and they too would have a slight advantage in that the dust thrown up by the Nissan would have settled a little. Grobler and Leek were next away in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody and confident that they could set a new record of 6 consecutive wins. Bevan Berthold and production car racer Richard Rutz could be counted on for a good result if Berthold could temper his exuberance. The Audi V8 powered back certainly had the speed and the handling to boot. Duncan Foss's transition from Class D to Class T has been somewhat troubled. He failed to finish in the Western Cape and Roll during the prologue on the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, but managed to finish second overall. Woolbridge and Shorthammer have won the Toyota 1003 times, once in a Nissan, once in a Pajero, and once in a Ford Ranger. Douse and co-driver VZ von Sale won the event last year, and the Mitsubishi twin-turbo V6-powered Nashua Mobile Racing Chenoweth certainly had what it takes to win again. Reinecker and Houghton last won the Toyota 1000 in 1999 and the Barberspan 500 in 2002, and wanted nothing more than to win and break their 9-race winless streak. Botswana hopeful Atang Makgaganene and Mike Stangl had decided to maintain a steady pace throughout the first day and then pile on the pressure on the return loop to Gaborone on Sunday. Makgaganene is no stranger to the road conditions in Botswana. As a youngster, he used to drive cattle from his father's farm to the market and has a good knowledge of driving in thick sand and dense bush. The ever-popular and spectacular Jojo Tanks VW will shortly be retired and make way for a brand new vehicle being built by Jacques Hubert in Groblersdal. Intense concentration on the face of De Villiers. De Villiers and Jourdan had already opened a 2-minute gap on the rest of the field, and this after only 50 minutes of racing. Harkes and Berthold were second overall and the leading special vehicle contenders. Class D champion Peter Haasbroek and Freddie Schippers were 13th overall and the Class D leaders in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. Gaborone businessmen Mohammed Noor and Mohammed Moltzen were 14th overall and comfortably led Class S in the Raceco Porsche. Andrew Birkin had moved into 15th place overall and led Class B from Rob Walker in O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Mighty Mag. Cronje and Birkin started 20th and were carving their way to the front of the field in the Castrol Toyota Hilux. Rob Walk came off second best in this encounter. Here's an aerial view of the incident. Cronje is the reigning Rotax Max World Karting Champion, runs a karting business and spends his free time working out in the gym. Class F for two-wheel drive unlimited super trucks was led by Wynand Brits and Roy Clark in the SVM. There was no stopping De Villiers and Jourdan in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody as they continue to open the gap on their pursuers. The SA Off-Road Championship comprises a production and special vehicle category, with each having an overall winner. Both categories are scored separately and the two championships enjoy equal status. Such has been the dominance of the production vehicles that a special vehicle hasn't won a race overall for many years. Grobler and Leek have a record equaling 5 consecutive wins in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, a record which was held by Grobler and Piet Swanepoel since 1986. Voss and Griffith were third in the production vehicle category, which gave the proudly South African Nissan hardbody team the 1-2-3 they were looking for early in the race. Dowse and Rutherford in the Nashua Mobile Racing Chenoweth were now second overall in the special vehicle category. The Mitsubishi twin-turbo V6 powered Chenoweth's acceleration was amazing and more than a match for the Nissan V6 and Audi V8 powered Bats at the head of the field. Castrol Toyota pair Reinecker and Houghton trailed the leading Nissan by 7 minutes, but their strategy was to get the Land Cruiser to the overnight stop in one piece and mount their attack on Sunday. Berthold and Roots had dropped down the order after picking up a puncture on the Matrix vehicle tracking Bat and were now third overall. Local Euro, Machaganene and Stangl in the Total Sam Racing Jimco were content with 9th position overall and 4th overall in the special vehicle category. Jacques Hubert and Jacques Cross were on charge in the Jojo Tanks VW Beetle. Hubert regularly competed in off-road races and rallies in the past and won the PMC rally some years ago. Botswana businessmen Rashid and Faisal Noble has always qualified well and been among the front runners in the powerful ACECO, but has lacked reliability. Another Botswana-based team, Mohamed Noor and Mohamed Moulton in the Porsche-powered Raceco, have been strong contenders in Class S in the past and were 11th overall and the Class S leaders after an hour of racing. John Weir-Smith and Jeff Minnett in the O'Hagan's Kopanang Hotel Super Team Jimco failed to finish the Nissan Dealer 400 and the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, which Weir-Smith won in 2002, and needed a good result this time out. Punctures and gear selection problems slowed their pace, and they had a lot of time to make up. John Moore and Fred Werner piled on the pressure in the ex-Franz Czepek Koenigsegg Shell Chenoweth, which won the Special Vehicle Championship in 2001. The Class D lead belonged to Piet Haasbroek and Freddie Skeppers in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. The pair farmed near the Botswana border, so the road conditions were not as foreign to them as they were to the Class E leaders Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin, who were 13th overall. Cronje couldn't afford to relax for 1 second because Castrol Toyota teammates Kasi Kutsia and Oki Fourie were on the pace and just waiting to pounce. The Atlas Copco Chicago pneumatic Jeep with Scott Abraham at the wheel was down on power and using oil at an alarming rate. A puncture and regular stops to top up the engine oil were delays that he and Richard Carolyn could ill afford. Kutsia Labuschagne and Johan Gerber were second in Class D and comfortably ahead of their 3 GBS racing teammates, who all compete in Nissan hardbody single cabs. Labuschagne last won his class on the 2002 Barbaspan 500. Western Cape-based father and son Bez and Dion Besaidnout are strong contenders in the Class B Adenko Sandmaster and were the class leaders at this stage of the race, while Barbaspan farmers Chris and Jannie Visser were third in Class E in the Toyota Hilux and being chased by 2002 Class B champions Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane in the Rollerbach Racing JRE. Geniel de Villiers and Francois Jordan were comfortably ahead of the field in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, and this mistake didn't slow their pace much. There were reports that de Villiers was suffering from motion sickness, just as in the case of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, which can't have been too pleasant. special vehicle category leaders Brandon Harkes and Richard Rutz were comfortably ahead of the rest of the Class A field, with the Nissan V6 powered Bat not missing a beat. Haasbroek and Skeppers were 5th overall in the production vehicle category and the Class D leaders in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, which has been totally rebuilt by Christo Bosch, who co-drove for Haasbroek for many years. Andrew Birkin was 4th overall in the special vehicle category and the Class B leader in the Wingfoot, an amazing performance to say the least. With the service point almost in sight, Class E leaders Cronje and Birkin were 13th overall in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i and 4 minutes ahead of their nearest challengers. Mohamed Noor and Mohamed Moltzen in the Raceco Porsche were the sole remaining Class S crew in the race. Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer had dropped way down the leaderboard. A puncture and an overheating engine on the Team Ford Racing Ranger were the reasons.
Water fans, just check them. Philippe, the temperature is 115 degrees. 115 degrees. The water temperature.
A failed power steering slowed their pace dramatically on the Nissan Sugarveld 400, and they could ill afford problems of a different kind on the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Maybe the overheating problem could be sorted out at the service point. Present point at Manswabishi was a hive of activity, and teams awaited the arrival of their chargers. Predictably, Ganiel de Villiers and Francois Jordan were the first to complete the 223-kilometer southern loop of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. The proudly South African Nissan hardbody hadn't missed a beat and was followed by Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek, who won the event in 2002. A steady, well-paced performance from Brandon Harkes and Gary Berthold in the Bat had earned them a lead of almost 6 minutes over Moore and Werner in the Chenoweth. Duncan Foss and Mike Griffith were experiencing oil pressure problems on the third proudly South African Nissan hardbody and had to be satisfied with 4th overall at this point. Atang Machaganene and Mike Stangel's race strategy was going according to plan, and they had moved from 9th at the start to 2nd in the special vehicle category. Bevan Berthold and Richard Rutz had had an eventful day so far, with a number of off-road excursions taking their toll on the Matrix vehicle tracking Bat.
Hi there. Okay.
It was unlikely that this damage could be easily repaired. Api Reinecker and Robin Houghton's Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser limped into the service point and, like the Bat, would not be easily repairable.
We were flying through the bush in our Matrix Bat and we had a few problems. We came across a few rocks that ran out and put us off the road, so we went back again. Then we hit a tree, okay, bigger problem, front arm off, so we came back again. Then the reverse gear went in the gearbox, now we stop. Very nice race, thank you very much for a good event.
We were charging on Duncan to put pressure on him to give way for us, so you can't read the road properly. And it was in this thick, twisty sand, and all of a sudden we sort of, the side of this track gripped the one wheel, and it sort of pulled the vehicle out of the tracks, and we hit a tree slightly, but the tree put us totally all off balance. put our car sideways and we hit another tree and another tree. So that was totally disastrous because all the front steering rods were bent, the front diff is bent, the shock absorbers, everything, and that was about 15 k's out. We had a flat and we had to change that quickly, and then we sort of came in very slowly.
Hierdie rondte gaan het baie goed. Geen papwiele nie.
Ja.
'n Paar harde slote geslaan, maar wat die bakkie is nog reg.
There were minor problems in the O'Hagan's Kopanang Hotel Super Team camp.
Fantastic, no problems at all. Just a little shifter linkage is a bit loose, so backlink to select the gears, so we've been stuck in second and third, which is fine. We'll fix it quickly now. Nothing on a big trip.
You want another few?
A missing grub screw on the gear linkage was found to be the cause of the gear selection problems on the BMW 540 V8 powered Jimco, but the repair cost them 39 minutes.
We went round the corner and the right rear wheel dug in. We went on two wheels for about 50 meters and then we just couldn't hang on to it and rolled right over. Right in the middle of the road, so everybody was forced to stop to help us because we closed the road off.
This next one's longer, eh? 275.
It's longer than the first one.
No, I don't know, we've got a problem with with a coolant side. And from early this morning, within 30 k's this morning, suddenly the temperature was right up. We stopped, it took 3 liters of water, and we continued. We thought maybe there's just a bit of air in the system, but no, it's just got worse and worse as the days progressed, and I think we have to call it a day, eh? Live to fight another day.
The Toyota technicians took 1 hour and 45 minutes to repair the damage to the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, and, much to the delight of the fans, Reyneke and Houghton were on their way again.